Hey there, it's Monty. How's it going, mate? So I'm just setting up the stream a little bit here. Mute it down. That'll do. Alright, what was I doing? Yeah, music. That's what I need. Let's start out with some filthy drum and bass. Nasty. Here's my filthy drum and bass when I need it. Alright, run. Sure, I'll give it a shot. That's not filthy. Can't drink coffee, need drum and bass instead. It's a bit better. Just warming up my brain here. CircuitSim, that's what I'm working on today. Hey Andrew. How's it going, mate? Got something for the background at work? Oh, you moonlight her. Which one are you paying more attention to, though, Andrew? Huh? Okay. Just get coding. Okay, what was I doing? So, CircuitSim is a crazy project that lets me do things like this. No idea if this is still gonna work. I haven't actually seen it in a while. This is already complaining about. Oh no, it's a little not work because I was in the middle of tearing up the code. The idea is it lets you do things. Do I have a GIF? Do I have an animated GIF? Let's what this does. I think I do. Yeah. So it does stuff like this. All of these components, these are supposed to be RGB LEDs. All these components are controlled, they're wired together. They're powered by this battery, which is also powering this MCU, which is basically a tiny computer. And the MCU looks like this. So here he is. And the MCU is actually running Python code. open up my Python stuff. The idea is you can program any of these components with Python. So for instance, here's the code for the battery. This is the new form of code. The old code, which I'm just getting rid of right now, is a bit chunky and too clunky. I don't like it. So my new code, for instance, yeah, here's the battery. Basically, every so often, every 1 second, the battery will output a signal on its pin, its first pin. And that signal is a voltage signal, depending on how much voltage this battery has. And then that'll just go through the entire circuit. If anything needs voltage, if that's too much voltage, it'll fry something. If it's too good of voltage, it won't do anything. But if it's just right, things will turn on. So yeah, it's a very early on project, but I've got a lot of like the hard challenges out of the way, like getting Python to run inside C# is kind of hard, but that would work. Using Iron Python is my middleware for that. So today, I have a lot of choices of what I can work on. Right now the wiring up of components is pretty nasty. You have to kind of manually do it. Say, hey, this component's going to be, it's got pin, now it's all done with pins. Got an output pin, that pin's connected to the anode on this LED here, and that LED is connected, this cathode is connected, and so on. So they're chained together. So if I run this thing, then the battery runs into these two. It's not a traditional electrical circuit. There's no loop circuit that goes all the way around. This is a digital simulation. It's not an electronic simulation. It's different. So now this thing starts up these two LEDs because they're connected together. So if I disconnect this and the LED 1 here, if I disconnect this cathode, so now there's no connection there, you can see, then the voltage signal never makes it all the way through. And so that second one doesn't light up. But I got some errors. I was in the middle of working on this, it was getting late, so I'm gonna have to do some heads down tidying up, I think, for a bit. Just kick it to the anode again. So I know the UI is terrible, I have to do this all manually, but I don't think I'm ready to start working on the UI side of things. It's a lot to take in. I mean, it's a lot to do. I want to get more of the code in place. One of the bigger problems right now is, unlike code that you might code in an Arduino or some other actual little computer, when I tell the code here to delay, it waits. It still keeps running. It doesn't delay here. It doesn't stop here for 1,000 milliseconds and then run this code. It runs the rest, and then it will wait 1,000 milliseconds before it runs this loop function again. So that's pretty bad for doing any kind of sequencing on microcontrollers. It's the first thing I look at to see if I can find a way around that. I think I can do. But stopping code from running midway through, Python code especially, it could be possible. Could be. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Maybe I need to inject. I don't know. I can't do, so one possibility there is if I go find that code. So where's delay? It's under a base part, I think. Yeah. A very complicated RD instruction here. So this delay takes a milliseconds. All it does is stores that milliseconds in a property called delay milliseconds, and that's just used in the update. The purpose of the update, if it gets this far, is simply to run the loop, and the loop being this. So all the delay does right now, so many different codes are in here. All the delay right now is won't let it get that far down until that delay is run out. So it's not what I want though. I want the delay itself to actually pause here. Now, if I do that in Unity, remember this is being run from Unity. That code originally ran from here. So I'm in the main Unity thread. If the main Unity thread does an actual loop saying, right, I'm gonna wait a second, then Unity locks up for a second. So I can't do it in the main thread. So the obvious solution here is, can I bring all of the code, all this code, into a separate thread that I can lock up? But that raises the question that each one of these little devices should be able to lock up. They should be able to freeze and stop and wait. Every single device should be able to do that separately, which means every single device should have its own thread. So we're dealing with true multi-threading here. So I can't break this down into a coroutine, which will be my first step, my first attempt, saying, oh, well, I'll just do the whole thing in a coroutine, and then I can put yields in whenever I want to wait for something, like that delay. But I can't put this. This is a dynamic object that represents the class battery, the object of the class battery in Python. I'm saying, yeah, go right ahead and hit run loop. I can't run this as a coroutine. There's nothing about this that could be turned into a coroutine. There's certainly no yields in there, so more research required. But my initial thinking is thread everything. Run everything in a thread. Every single one of these scripts. I mean, that can get crazy. I mean, what's the? I haven't done that scale of threading in a while. But it has to be a true thread because of this. It has to be an absolutely true thread. There's nothing true about coroutines. They're not real threads. They don't pretend to be real threads. So, threading. I don't have to brush up. It's been a while. This degree of threading. This would be C#, and it's not compatible at all with Unity. Like, you run a thread. This will in a thread. If anything in here does something like modifies a material, does anything with the Unity engine itself, it'll break. It'll say, nope, can't do that. I'm in a thread. So you have to have a clever system of pushing kind of actions from your threads. You push these things that you want to happen on the main thread, push them into like a queue, and then the main thread's constantly feeding off that queue and performing the actions. So you have like this kind of marshalling system to make it real threads work with Unity. So it's been a while. This whole project's complicated. Why stop now? Might as well melt my brain at 10:30 a.m. on a Wednesday. Right. More tuning musics. Where's my volume control? Reactivate. There we go. Funky. Alright. That weird sound in the background. Me 3D printing a dog. It's a present. Is it working? Yeah. Looks good. I do have to keep my eye on my students though during the day, so if I'm looking off to the side down here, it's because I'm keeping an eye on students and shit. Threading, bloody hell. See if there's any obvious clues here. Threading, true threading. There's gonna be some kind of drawbacks and feature and gotchas and stuff. Gotta keep an eye out for them. So let's do some research for a while here. I don't think the job system's going to do it. Don't think job's going to handle it. C# job system was meant for this kind of stuff. because it lets you fight race conditions. Say this thread depends on this to finish. First of all, I shouldn't care about them. Those are electronic components. They don't know about each other. That shouldn't be a thing. I'm pretty sure I can't just lock one up. But Unity docs probably aren't going to help me. Wonder how much of a giant fucking crater it would leave though if I just dropped real threads into Unity to just go have fun. Alright. Guys using fake threads. Here's an impossible search thing. No one's ever gonna respond to it. Iron, Python, blocking in CircuitSim. No. Okay, this might be useful though. Yeah, code screen grabs. That's a good example of doing a similar job. Yeah, no references to game objects. That's fine. Yeah. Don't really care if it's thread safe. I know enough about my thread safe to be really careful. As long as the basic inputs and outputs, like the action queue and stuff like that, is thread safe. Okay. I'm not thread safe. I'm just putting new textures on it. I'll lock on it. Right. Not thread safe. Give me the real box. Don't care what code teams. Fuck off and let me do a Google for you, piece of shit. Lol. Alright, C#. It's been a while since I've spawned these guys off. They keep changing it. There's always a new shiny way of doing this every time I look at it. Static. Sure. New thread. Thread start. What's thread start? What's thread start? How's thread start? Alright, this is roll this C. Oh, what's this about? Right. Right. Kind of when the whole thing kicks off. Probably everything should be in the thread. So let's just go with this. Everything internal. It's a lot of repetition, but it's held a little bit. It won't be able to share a lot. Oh, that's a real thing. Cool. There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to share some of these objects between threads. You call it thread clock. So it's just a split light. Okay. Gross. It's static, which keeps it safe. So we call this script thread. You know? make it static. Isolate it from everything we can. And it's going to need everything. Literally fucking everything goes in there. And there's no way of talking back to the real world. Can't talk to its own scope even. Even all this is this building. This is basically going to be an infinite loop. I gotta think, yeah, it's going to be an infinite loop. So everything belongs in here now. So you can pull things like this in. Okay. You have to take everything in. You have to take a script path. Totally isolated. Scripted. What the fuck are you? Oh, right. That can also be. Oh shit. Right. Alright. String part name, I guess. This could be a series of. Motherfucker. This is the problem. Right here. I can't let it talk to the components. So you just start calling methods on it. Not thread safe. Why isn't thread safe? What's a mono behavior to start? See, I really wanted to keep the Python simple as possible, but by making this thread safe, you can make it super funky. Or not. It might force me to wrap everything, and by wrapping everything, it might get simpler. Maybe. It's never going to be as simple looking as like Arduino code, but well, I could make it simple as Arduino code. Maybe that's something to strive for. It would mean having to wrap everything, which if I'm wrapping everything, then I'm never going through component. This is what I need to avoid. Because this will never be thread safe, so I can avoid that and have an actual method called delay that I feed into this when it runs, basically. I put it in scope. And it can do all the fancy stuff inside, and we wouldn't do any better, and that looks identical to Arduino code. And how might this look? How might this look? This might be perfect, actually, because I could say, like, pin output. In fact, what is that? What's that look like on an Arduino? That's digital write, and a pin number, and the thing you're writing, which normally would be like high or low. But if I'm saying I could use the same style, kind of similar style, but pin output. And what that actually takes is a signal on pin 0. Like if I aim toward this, it's a lot of work. And I need to figure out how to inject. I need to figure out how to inject these methods into my script. But if I did, it looks way cleaner. It's way closer to Arduino code, which is kind of the goal. I can lose a lot of this. I can even get rid of the class itself. It may end up just looking just like Arduino code. So, in true Arduino fashion, You leave this the fuck alone. It's working. You make a brand new LED. We'll copy this LED code. We'll make a new LED. No, it will be the LEDs work. The LEDs can receive these voltage signals, and if it receives the voltage signal, it sets its color to whatever and passes it along. So I'll leave that alone. I'll instead make this script cool, just blink, the classic Arduino blink, and it'll be going back to basics. You'll have a setup function just like Arduino. Doesn't take a component this time. We're hiding all the rest. It won't even take that. And all it does is stuff like pin mode. I could do a similar, yeah, I could do a similar pin mode to thing. The closest I can get to Arduino, the better. So, say this is running on a little chip. It has a bunch of pins. I say, hey, pin 0, you're an output pin. And then that doesn't necessarily even do anything. But then in loop, this is where it gets interesting. This is why ideally all this goes away. Still existing. Yeah, so no, we don't care about that. This is where I want to be able to say, if the pins kind of queue up signals, I think I gotta diverge a bit from Arduino and have something like called on signal. And it takes a signal and a pin and a signal. And that would look like something 0. Therefore, if this thing wouldn't care because it's not doing that, I'll leave it here as reference. This would be saying, right, output signal on pin 0, and that signal would be the battery makes it a voltage signal. Well, no, it's not actually. So I'm more interested in an LED control signal. Okay, sure. The voltage. We'll make it a voltage signal. And then how the hell is it going to know what kind of voltage to? Setup's definitely have to take some list of parameters in there. I can use for setting crap up, like Python variables. So if I could say, alright, output a voltage signal. This is where the difference between Arduino and reality and my stuff is that I don't deal with ones and zeros, I deal with signals, and it could be literally anything. Pack tons of information into one signal. As opposed to streaming tons and tons of ones and zeros and having to decode it. I just send an object that already has the decoded information in it. Outputting a signal on pin 0. That would be a voltage signal. I guess this would be, 5 volts. Now, sure. The key here now is I say delay 1,000 milliseconds. And then output voltage off signal. And then delay again. Now this would be a classic blink program. And then I could do stuff like, hey, I'm gonna do a kind of constants work in this. Python constants work. Python global constants. Language hopping. to do the bloody global thing. I was trying to avoid that. I don't like this about Python, the whole global variable declaration thing. It sucks. Never mind. So this would say, okay, LED pin equals 0. And then all these, unfortunately, got to go ball. LED parameter. That's it. Maybe do. Right there. And this shit goes away. I don't even know what this would do. I don't know what the purpose of that is. To prevent you reading inputs on something like here. I'm not sure. It could be useful. And then we're doing this again. Link. They connected. Now, if I can get this working today, I would be stoked. This is much simpler code. Looks closer to Arduino, which is partially the objective. Yeah, if I can do inline delays, actual stop and wait, that'd be huge. But it involves some heavy threading. Oh, come on, how about even... Can I pass stuff into this? So I'm going to be doing some deep dives into some heady topics. Great, that's useless. Threads, new, okay, starting threads. C# threads with parameters. Here we go. One parameter. Alright. Okay, I can do that. I can handle that. Equals new thread work object data. Where's this data being sent? Oh, let's see. I prefer this style. This is a nicer style. This looks better. Just pass in an object. So we do this, we do that. Sure. We'll say our script thread is a new thread that will take this run shit. This is all going to have to be put in some kind of structure. So have object thread info, I guess, something like that. And run thread info. Quickly cast. Shuffle its data. And have a run info cast format. So I'm making a class for thread info. It's a dumb name I'll probably replace. That will be the data. Create this dude. Give it a structure. And have this crap in it. So I can pack this. Public. Get this stuff way up top. This is all got to be pulled into some other class at some point. Real clean this thing up hard, but now though, like when I run this dude, I can make a new one of those new run thread. So I didn't feel zeros and actually give it what I was after. What was I after? Script name and part name. So script path equals script path. Then part name is going to be get type name, whatever this thing is. And now we don't do this shit. That's it running. Theoretically, it's not running. We got a thread info should we need it, and that will involve is close info. That'd be nicer. We'd say info script path. Now we have info.part name. Now this shit. Now setup shouldn't need this anymore. Setup. I've decoupled it. This is breaking everything. But that's why we have GitHub. Everything's gonna be shattered after this, but I checked in before I started messing this crap around with this crap, so setup, we've broken that connection, perfect. So these things are isolated now. Totally isolated from their mono behavior. But the communication still has to be in some kind of wrapped methods. I probably should still bring this stuff back. So they need to define the start method, then that's okay. Now we are totally lost here, so info dot. Yeah, use the path. No setup method. Sure. Still allowed to have a setup method. Self prerogative. That's why it's a 1. So I guess we can hold on to this. I gotta be careful. This is all gonna be one big method. We're in a thread now, so this method's in charge. So at this point, if we feel we need to finally anymore, because we've not reached this point. If we got an exception, we're screwed. Except we're not. We handled it, and that was that. So I guess we should have a finally, and just say, yeah, check it out, man, we're valid. That will be valid. Script is false. And if we get to true, then if this script, I don't know, like this. Nah, fuck, all this shit can run in this one big try catch. It's just spitting out exceptions anyway, who cares? So once we've done this, start the main loop. So I love doing this. While true. Good old threading. While true, run the. So we're gonna basically want to grab that run a loop method if it has one. So a little try catch here just in case. We can probably should just get the. Okay. Maybe this place. I'll simplify this code later. It can be nice and compacted now, but them's the cookies. The trick is whatever this thing does, it can block now. Now I'm not gonna do some dumbass blocking like in the Python here. Well, like literally just I could replace this with just my own looping blocking nonsense, but I don't want to. I want to be able to inject this method, which does all that hideous shit out here. So how the hell do I do that? I think the way to do it is through my search paths. Or I can get even cheekier. I can inject them all. So what this does here is this creates a script source from an actual file of script with Python script in it. We then execute it in this scope. So I could run anything I want in that scope, including predefining a shit ton of methods. So every single one of these things has a bunch of methods just executed in scope. So the methods exist in the same scope. You just never see them in the script. So the simplest of tests. Well, I need to get this tested, get something tested on the screen, or else I'll lose my mind. So the simple test would be inject a simple method, test it. Just a hello world. So let's go. So I want to, before I execute this guy, I want to inject all the supporting methods. with a script. Should be not much right now. So I can do an engine dot create script source from string, and this time actually give it some. But I'd rather not. I'd rather actually these script paths. I always forget what the script paths look like. I can find that back in here. Script paths look like this. So how do I get the script paths again? This script path is set in the script part editor. It is get files and data scripts. So basically I want to put something in data scripts. I think I'm already in. It should all be in. Where are these guys? Yeah, data scripts. So I'll make a new one called this would be built in, I guess. Built in. And I'll throw a couple, one in the front, so I don't mess with it. Alright, and this is gonna have some simple stuff. Let's try a simple hello world. Should just print goodbye. Cool world. A dark twist. And that's all it does. So now we run this built-in thing manually. So pretty much just grab this. It's gross. Actually, it's so gross. I'm not going to use it. So it's going to be this. Back up in our script here. We do a file.read all text. And we take the application, blah, 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 and then have our built-in .py. And once we've done all that, we just run it on our scope. You should now have access to hello world with a method. So now our hello simple method here, which is just going to run setup and then loop. Always have it in during setup. Actually, I kind of want to see this pop up. So in our super simple script, so blink, I'll take out the loop. And in here, that doesn't exist. So in here, we'll just say, yo, hello world. Actually, see if our built-in stuff works. Okay. So hello world should test that. This has been gutted now, but it's okay. I'd like to be able to get rid of these, but I'm probably need in a second. So blink. How am I going to run you, buddy? Let's bring back our MCU and tell it to run blink. It wants 3.3 to 5 volts to a battery, spitting out 3.3 lab 8. There's no nothing, so this should just need to be connected from the output pin. Yeah, this MCU doesn't have pins. This is before I introduced pins. So MCUs, check it out, buddy. You're gonna need like some kind of pin for the VCC pin. Another. It's pins. VCC. We'll slap that. I don't know, somewhere. A pin. First pin. RM. That one. That's the VCC thing. I have decided. So you're gonna have a pin. Oh yeah, this needs to have a pin on it. Those will be the ones that connect. Pin. there. Hopefully, I should be able to connect my battery's output pin to the MCU's VCC pin as well. So there's a connection there. How, I can't remember how this results. So in this flat out won't do anything right now. So I just told me it won't work. So I'm gonna I can't do this right now. I'm gonna basically say, yo, I'm just gonna do it here. Say MCU, check it out. You've got a public bool saying, serialized fields, private bool, just force power on, the force script run. Normally it waits till the powers come on, but I can't be bothered writing all that coding right now. That's the way I change it up, so I'll have it so when this thing starts, if it's got a force, it'll just go ahead and do it. And that'll kick everything off. Except I'm in the MCU now, and not the scripted part where I was just working. So go back to the scripted part, bring over my new code. Got force in there. Get rid of that. Everybody got a start. Oh, look at that. We already have a. Let's actually run it out of the start. That's because scripted parts needed to run because they were things that you can wire could be a scripted part. So this is probably totally unnecessary. As long as I don't use an MCU. Let's make a new scripted part, but that's abstract, isn't it? It is. Okay. But just because it's abstract, the MCU is now basically pooched, so it won't run its program anymore. It'll automatically be run at its start because it comes from power parts. So this is a scripted part. Now, I'll have a bunch of duplicate shit. So get rid of that. Get rid of scope, code, power on. Run program, it's flashing now. Well, this basically doesn't do anything different now. MCU is just a scripted part. Completely, so fine by me. It's the shell. Looks for me. What is this bitching about? Right. Yeah. Let's see that. Let me see it. Really well. What? There's an error. I really don't realize how much it depends on the squiggly lines to do anything. 39, expecting a bracket. 39. Maybe some crazy copy and pasting somewhere. Wait, no, you can. Tell me it's gonna fix it. It did. What did I have there before? Oh. that was dumb. That was really dumb. Blind. Alright. So this MCU is now just a scripted part, so this MCU will run Blink right off the bat, and hopefully we should get on Hello World. So we can see goodbye cruel world. I'm gonna disconnect the battery. Disconnect the LEDs for a second. And here come threading issues. Get data path can't cover the thread. Wow, they really lock it down, don't they? Bloody hell, you can't even run this. Well, no problem. Just pass it into the giant info shit. Almost close to the main thread info. Sure, it's pretty much what's going to be packed with. App data path. That's something I cannot believe that's thread. Not allowed on threads. No matter. Not properly, buddy. It's not properly. Yep. Wow, what else is gonna blow up my face? If we get very far, there's another one here. File should be fine. This will hopefully fuck. Can I do a debug.log? Can I? Probably not. First step, definitely, if this works. Probably won't. Again, great, nice action cues. I can talk back to the main thread. No root method. Cool, that's expected. Let's box that. Let's see if I set a method. Don't care. You scope storage object has no to the MCU. Okay, so we got an exception. Was that the exception? Scope storage object has no scope storage. I don't mention MCU anywhere. How am I trying to get MCU? I am, aren't I? I'm trying to get MCU because I was creating an object from that before, but I just did away with that. I did away with that concept. Now there is no overarching object, it's just loading methods. So this is probably still trying to do that. This. Of course, that's not going to exist. So we're actually running, straight up, just running up the scope. No. Is the execute? I think the execute spits out the thing. So var. It's not scope. I want to call it runtime or something. It's just kind of like the code. Runtime dot setup. Well, it's script. We don't need this shit anymore. Sure. Ignoring delay there. So no setup. No setup found in blink. Well, that's complete fucking bullshit. Right fucking there. Although that's a really dumbass exception. You know what? What is that exception? I'm trying to figure this out for a while. What is the exception that causes this? Because this is a really dumb way of doing it. Let me just log the hell out of this exception. dot everything dot type get type dot name, because this is what any kind of problem happening inside setup. I mean, it's saying, oh, I guess there's no setup method. It could be, it's not that at all. I want to know what actual exception is for this, actually. I want to see what the loop, the real exception is for there isn't one, and then I'll only catch that. And let the proper errors fill up. And collapse. We need to see this in situ. One-time binder. Alright. I think I can, that sounds good. Sounds way more specific. Hopefully other ones will reach here. I'll have real errors. It's in progress. Let's see that. No loop, as expected. And no set should give me a real lesson. Oh, you know what? This is why I commented this shit out in the first place. Want some real. I'll just take up the loop for now. Let's have it try the loop once. Just run set up and loop. I need the bathroom and a cigarette. I'll be right back. Whoever the hell's watching this crap. Right. Block. I need to get everything from the scene. It's too busy. Makes noise in the morning. Okay. Oh, okay. So it was that. Still, let's spin the scene up a bit. Then this. Running tests. Let's clean it up. Don't even really need the battery. This thing just runs. Sure, that's enough. Boom. Where's it going for? That would make sense. Let's get two exceptions. One exception. One's enough because it can't get any further. So it can't bind to the line was that phone. Way annoying. Debug time. Okay. Oh, shit. There we go. Script. Script is known. Great. Actually, you can find that script. Yeah. Debug. Okay, so did the code. Scope. To have, that has to have a world. scopes you now have similar methods set up. Am I doing this wrong? Script. I'm totally doing this wrong. I have to go way back in time. Create scope. Yeah, that failed before as well. And before. See an example of this working somewhere, please. Anywhere. Yeah. Where is this? Coming from? Yeah. So I should be able to scope. Hey, Aramac. What's up? Get variable setup. Oh, hey Indigo. You're on, mate. Let's try this instead. Get this, whatever the hell I'm doing now. Two indicators. Just rerun it. Should be a loop. Just rerun it. Watch this blow up in a different way. You know, I'll set up. Type. You can't type. See you, mate. Have a good one-on-one. Right. Come on. Yes. No exceptions. No exception. We expected. That means it managed to run. Oh yeah. Goodbye, cool world. Means my built-in functions work. Fantastic. Okay, step one. step one now. Next step is what was the error I got? Trace back to attribute error storage. Yeah, attribute error is what I'm using on these guys. So let's bring these dudes back. Bring these guys back. Note for attribute exceptions. Attribute exception or attribute error? Yeah, attribute error exception. These are our guys. Okay, proper errors now. One step at a time. Take out the debugger for now. You should goodbye cool world and then an error. Shit. I'm actually spinning out here. The exception. Alright, let's be a fancier here. This clearly did not work. So let's grab all exceptions. E and if E got, what was it? E dot exception. What's this do? Did this spit string out? It does. I don't know about that. Or the inner exception is attribute error exception. Then do that. Otherwise, raise it. So yeah, the guy catches it externally. Same deal here, but with exceptions again. And setup. Found. Bit of a detour I didn't want to go down, but it's gotta be done. Go. Oh, come on. Attribute error. Give me the, okay. Debug it. Where can I find this attribute error? Not the inner exception. What are you? No. Where are you? Good stuff. Give us more than what is this fucking thing? Inner exception. Give me something, give me something. I can check that string. It's pretty gross though. Actual data. I can check the class name. No, it's private to me now. Private. It sucks because the external looks like it's. What's public here? Come on, give me something. I can check for this. That's disgusting too. Well, that's the easiest. First, so if the message contains this object has no attribute. It's a disgusting way of filtering things. What do you mean it's never going to contain that? Oh, wait. That's what we want to be checking for. Error checking other ways to get back to work. I made some good progress there. Shouldn't get any exceptions now. I should just get a warning. Thank you. And another exception here. No, we see else. So, double come delay. I think I should be able to just wrap that whole thread.sleep. Nice. Hey, that's clean errors. Now let's get going here. So we don't want this hello world is stupid, so we'll want the delay method now instead of say milliseconds. It will. Can I just get thread dot sleep? And it takes milliseconds. I might be able to just do that by saying import thread. See how much this blows up. Thread dot sleep. Release. I'm going to test this thing. We're going to want in setup we'll have a print. Not there yet. 4 I in range 10 5 print I delay 500 milliseconds. The beauty of this now is I don't have to be compiling C# anymore. Nice. Speed things along nicely. Okay. Doesn't like probably no okay system.threads. What's the full name for that? Threads dot sleep would be system threading. Yeah, so I need to system threading. Right, so I want from system dot threading import thread. Let's get my bullshit out of here. Oh my god, did it work? I wasn't paying attention. Probably. Fuck yeah. We have delays. Oof, getting there. Now, if it doesn't have a loop, we should probably just... It doesn't actually have a loop function, we should probably just break from this infinite loop. This infinite loop. We say the log script came to an end. Which script info dot script path came to an end. Probably want a script name as well. So it's not so bloody wordy. And that can be set up as script name equals script path dot substring from script path find last of index last index of, and it takes a char. Am I dealing with backslashes? Oops. I want that to be, is it this? Backslash. And the index of that plus 1. Public string, so now we can use that for much better. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Tie these things up a touch. Script, it's okay, total okay not having a setup. If there is no loop, it's game over. We stop. Start implementing stuff. The next thing would be to have an action queue that can run on the main thread. No loop method. Internet. Very nice. It's all tidy. Now, if I want to actually make something happen on the main thread, so in this case, it's the simplest thing. Will freak out if I don't do it on the main thread. This blew up last time. Log application, a dumb check, but dot app data path. That blew up. It's not thread compatible. We did a super basic test. Get that working. And I should check where this thing's counting. It's not actually locked up anymore. No, that's true. That's the not called setup first. Let me make this blink a little bit longer. 5 actual seconds. And chance to see if Unity's not actually blocked. I can still select anything in the UI that the thread is working. 5 seconds to test it. Thread seems to be working. And then, boom, there's my problem. I can't run that from the thread. Understood. So, how the hell? So let's have a I don't know, another test here. Def thread test. And that's job will be to do something, push us to the main thread. So how the hell am I going to do that? It's going to be my own method. So I want this to be a thing. So we're going to import. Can I bring my utils into here? Always bring my utils in here. I didn't. Always bring my utils in here. Alright. It's my own code here. Grab it from, which is my latest project. Probably crime bots. Nope. I think it's that one. AI jam I did. Util. Bring our in. CircuitSim. Probably found a few errors here. Probably Newtonsoft. Missing. Nope, I must have stripped it. Lovely. Okay, so now should be able to pull in from Python. I should be able to pull in import utils. Just that simple. Find out. Not sure the full path line is. Oh, what's this? Yeah. Does that mean I got past that? Let's try utils dot. What do I have in there? It's worth looking at. Utils. These aren't mine. It's a util. What's the simplest? So we'll check. Alert. And then this will be util, not utils. Pulling util and do util dot alert. Does it work? Yep. Between 1 and 10, and do it 0.5. Print that. I don't know I have access to utils. Hey Andrew, welcome back. All right, that worked. Well, it didn't work. I haven't tested it yet. But thread test. We'll do it here. Let's get this thing fast again. I know it works. So 0.66 is what? What's a lurk between one? What's a lurk between 1 and 10? 6. That makes sense. It's 9. No wait. Is it round to integer? Who cares? It worked. So now I can talk to lurk. I can talk to this. So delay. No, I want delay. I want something useful. Now you've got here, Cash. You have anything fucking useful to do? I guess carry on until I find something useful to do. So I guess make a simple or it's not a loop. So output signal, that's got to exist. What does it take? Pin number, pin signal. Now this is gonna have to. It's gonna be tricky because I do need to know what component. I need to be able to, I can't touch the component. I don't want to pass it in here. Fuck. I could do something in built-in and say, hey, def set component. You should all be following. You should all be following the Python way of doing things, which is underscores for reasons. And so take component. And then I guess store it in a global, so I have component. Equals none. And then that will just say global component equals component. Get around that. Okay. Okay. And then the component is definitely mean for that stuff. So once I've got the component, I can do whatever the hell I want. So the component is a base part. And I should be able to do a broadcast signal, which just takes a signal, getting a ping for a second. We'll have a new one. It's just for that thing. So we'll send signal on pin, which takes the pin index. It'll just take the pin index and the signal, and it'll output pins, pin index. So blow up in a multitude of ways. If I'm not careful, grab it right. The send signal on pin index is now part of the base component, so I should be able to, in output signal, I should be able to say, yo, global component dot send signal on pin index, the pin and the signal, and all I have to do is set component first, which means once I've run, this is the big test, once I've run this code, the built-in code, I set the component for this script. This is where it's probably going to blow up. Not hopefully blow up with a threading issue. So now I can say, hey, scope dot get variable that'll be set component, and then I'll execute that, taking in I guess this. So the component will equal this object. This is the scripted part, which goes all the way down to the base part. Get a feel for it. And then when I run that guy, it takes the info.component. I should have access to the component, which means I could do a broadcast and see how much that blows up. The thing I added for that was output signal. So again, this should work. I don't need to pull in this. And output off signal doesn't exist yet. What was off signal? So I'll make that real fast. Output signal's not a thing. You know what? This is not how it's done in... It's not how it's done in Arduino, so screw it, we won't do the same. Go with Arduino's naming. Set component. And we run it with component. Which is great. Put some debugging on this. Set component. Scripts component to format component. Sure. This thing's gonna need some logging. Sending signal on pin like that, and then watch it probably explode here. So it's just like worth a test. It's still gonna be from within the thread though. Line 9 is the component. 2-string can be, oh my god, 2-string can't be. Jesus. I can't access the name of a game object out of a thread. Well, that's my first crunch. I wasn't looking for this anyway. So, even this. So it's dying, right? Let's double check that. 1. So reached 1. Reached 2. And if I manage to get one of those and not the other, then that's my problem there. It's trying to convert a 2-string here on a name. And Unity is not happy about it. So this is where we push stuff to the main thread. Yep, perfect. Perfect. So basically this whole fucking thing has to be main threaded. Can I do this with a lambda? Will lambdas, I think lambdas translate from Python to actions in C#. So let's try this. I think I have something like this for util already. I don't really want to use it, but I do have something in here for run on main thread, I think. adding to this thing for years. I should be doing it. I need to make it impossible. So script part, swing it to here for now. So we'll have new class, public class called scripting. Static class. What do I have in every single scene? A sim controller. So the sim controller can probably do this actually. That's a yeah, perfect. So we'll make this guy it's public. Let's try to make this, just make this guy singleton. Now we can have a public static void run on main thread. And this will take an action, which hopefully is compatible with the Lambda, called I guess action. And it will say, yo, instance that action queue dot enqueue an action, the action. This would be a queue. It's going to be queue of actions. And I'll make that. Let's see if we can make it read only. And now in update, in update, we pump the action queue. Now we'll be on the main thread to be safe. So we do the usual while action queue dot any action queue dot dequeue, and that nifty little bit of syntax. I love it so much. Let's get a bit of logging in here just temporarily. Running action on the main thread. Have action queue dot peak dot, I can't do any of this. Two string, let's see what happens. Do it yet, anyway. So now we should have a way of running things in the main thread. So this should go full sim controller in our built-ins. So import sim controller. I'm not sure it's going to be happy. It's not in a namespace. It really is not in a namespace. What is sim controller's namespace? Should probably namespace this or something. Namespace scripting. It's probably taken somewhere else. Let's give it here. Flash, let it flash. Move sim controller into scripting. Scripting. Scripts. Scripting. Put a sync controller in there. That's fixing the namespace. Sync controller. Namespace is happy. Now you'll be able to get that from scripting import sync controller. If that just works, you should be able to say, fingers crossed here, this whole thing and say, yo, sync controller dot run on main thread. Hopefully this will just take a lambda. I forgot how lambdas work in fucking Python. Python lambda. Really hope this just converts. I want a blank lambda. You know, it's not lambdas I want. Damn it. It's not. It's not lambdas I want. I want to actually pass a true function. This is, lambdas are just expressions, I think. Python lambda with, I don't want expression, I want statement. Maybe that phone. I'm always misunderstanding there's anything like just expressions. Just expressions, you can't use statements in there. You couldn't put a print in there, for instance. Like this. I can't do this. I don't think. I see. Let's see. I'll try it. I'll try it. It'll blow up on me. I'm trying it, you know. Lambda, don't care about the thing. Don't care about the parameter. So this will just be. You know what? I'm just gonna make a local function. This is dumb. This will be multiple lines of code anyway. So I'm just gonna make all this shit a defined inner. Pretty gross, but we define an inner function, which is all this shit, and I say, yo, inner, check it out. Sim controller dot run on main thread. I should have just passed in an inner. And it should treat that. Hopefully. It's not as pretty as C#, but that's not the point. Run on main thread is pumped right now, so some more logging in there. Maximum logging. Queuing. Queuing is the dumbest or whatever. It's just the letter Q. It's got U and E, a U and it. Oh, stupid English language. Queuing an action to run on the main thread. Good enough. Logging for days. Let's go. This works. Well, comes close to working. I'm pretty bloody close. Come on. There. Should be some serious unblocking done here. If I can get back to the main thread safely. Okay, it reached 2. It did actually set that. We got an actual cannot import an off signal. That's fair enough. It doesn't exist. So let's go to our voltage on signal. Copy it. Pull the voltage off signal. It doesn't really do anything. So, pop that into a file. Come on. It did queue it. And then blew up. That's weird. How did it queue before it? I think the thread. Just because it's a thread. No. Holy shit. It worked. No, it fucking worked. Fuck yeah. It ran. It did get translated to an action. It ran, reached 1, ran the set the part component, ran and reached 2, which means it fucking worked. It just hit a problem a few lines later in the actual main link thread that it didn't know what the hell this was. So this worked. Now output signal is the next guy. And does this work? Sending signal blah on pin. This didn't work. But again, this would blow up my face anyway. Would it blow up? Should have blown up. Delay. Delay for 1 second. Oh, it probably did delay for 1 second. Let's make that 5 seconds. Before it blew up. It probably did delay. Oh no, it should have blown up here. This definitely should have... Well, I never even got to this point. I never saw a sending signal, did I? Did I? Don't think I did, so let me just try again. What's going on? Ooh, hello. Okay, does this make sense? Queuing an action remains red. What was that action? Was it a test thing I've got still? I've got a delay. What was it queuing? Set component. Right, set component would immediately get queued, and then some time passed, interestingly, before it actually... This is disturbing. Some time passed. This is the problem with threads. Some time passed. Then it got around to running. How did it manage to get to 2 numbers? It's only 250 minutes. 250 milliseconds delay. That's like a lot of delay. It's a huge amount of delay. How the hell did it manage to get half a second between queuing it and running it? I can only imagine because... Look, another huge one. So reached 2, setting voltage 5 on pin 0. Send that signal. And that didn't even need to be run on a different thread. That's kind of cool. How come the second one never happens? Send signal on pin. How's that working? I guess it's just data, but that is going to eventually run into problems for sure. So I don't care. Then I'm pushing everyone. The threads is like, the thread delays are just going to be heinous. And they run into so many race conditions. I have bad feels about this. let's carry on with the premise here. Don't think this is necessary, but let's see what happens. It should be 5-second delay. You need like a little log over each thing. I can see at a glance like what's going on. Bad copy and paste here. None type object is no attribute. Fuck. And then we're running into the problems there. No, it couldn't have run that long. No way. Alright, until the second one is fucking done. I'm gonna have to do some nasty shit in here. Like, in scripted part, I cannot have this continue until this is like legit done. But that's gonna be happening all the time, so I need a way of locking. Ugh. Basically want to go say like while scope dot get variable components is not equal, I guess, null. Waiting components reset. And every nightmare that comes with threading is going to rear its ugly head, I guarantee it. Oh, it's going to be horrible. You have to timestamp every single. What do I think about it? Skeptical. Did it even hit that? It didn't hit it. Front of the set, nothing. Say null to me. Did I not check that properly? Oh, right. Equals null. Does it ever get past that? Find out. Infinite. Infinite, huh? Fuck me. Wait. Wait. Do I have to have... Probably have to have the inner define the global. I thought that. The inner is the one doing the accessing the global component. It's, no, it's can't be infinite looping on me. This is a thread, it can't infinite loop. Sure fucking feels like it. Oh. That can't be infinite loop. Give it one benefit of its own. One. That's the singular about. One degree infinite loop. Thread can't infinite loop. Okay. Right. Wow. Jesus Christ. Unity, you are so fucking slow. Queuing an action happened on the main thread. And how many did it get? 493 loops in my thread before it actually managed to fucking reach it once in the main thread. Ooh. That's gonna be a problem. So my thread's running about 500 times faster than Unity is. So I have to like frame rate lock this thing, you know. You can't do this shit everywhere. Oh man. explains why so many. The solution here. What is the fucking solution? I set this. It waits for the actual thing to happen, which is going through here with an inner component. Then it runs it on the main thread. I'm going to have to go back to the thread test here. I want to do the thread tests more simply here. So blink, setup, thread tests. And that just says, yo, anything can only happen on the main thread. Right, print application dot data. So where the hell is application from? That lives in from Unity Engine. Okay, from Unity Engine import application data path to my thread test. That should promptly blow up. It has to be in the main thread. What are you doing? Visual Studio? Why? Let's have to use Visual Studio. Doing. This is the problem with fucking threads. Oh no, what have I done to myself? This is such a rabbit hole. Even having threads around with fucking Unity, threads don't disappear when you close Unity, or even hit the play button again. You're like doopy-doo, I'll run forever, infinite loop, sitting there doing its thing forever. And terminating threads on application quit is sketchy as fuck. I've tried this before. I'm down this rabbit hole before, and this is still fucking putting around. Alright. Get out of here. Yeah, alright, these threads have to go, so everything's just crashing upon me. This thread has to die, and this is on apart, so this will have to have several desperately. The script thread is definitely going to be stored. You just have to kill it. But good luck. Unity's on its way out. There's no call, so we'll try to do it everywhere. On destroy, do it here. Script thread. Dot stop. Stop. Terminate. Interrupt. Dot nuke. Morbid. Abort. Abort. Oh great, the colonies of the usually terminates the thread. Good to know. Should use caution. Okay, well, if I'm also used to use support, what am I supposed to use? Okay, that's smart. I don't care about this because there's cache exception and a big old exception catcher in the sky. Put out a bolt. We'll try it there. We'll also try it on application quit. Everywhere. Look like how it works. These could easily cause infinite loops all over the place. Loose threads. Food. Some logging in here at least. Super logging for days. Say no to threads, please. We shouldn't be using Unity for this project, to be honest with you. We need smart. Probably should write my own engine for this. See? Right here. That's a fucking infinite loop. There's nothing that should be holding me. My loops all in threads. There's nothing holding on those threads. Motherfucker. I'll give it a few seconds. The fact that terminating Unity and gets around this problem is I am knee deep in Unity threading how it ain't getting any better. What other engines do I have? It could be caused by many things, Andrew. It's maybe threading stuff. Unity and thread is just like not a good idea. Theoretically, it's all possible, but so many edge cases and race conditions and shit. Threads don't disappear necessarily when you hit the stop play mode, and then they'll lie around, and then they can do all kinds of havoc. I'm trying to think of alternative engines I can use. I'm not so dedicated to this project to threading to Unity at this point. There's like Godot, Unreal. I wouldn't. Unreal would be just bad. Queuing, running, two-string. Okay, so I'm gonna time box it. I'll give Unity to the end of the day. I'm gonna work on it and see if it's how bad it looks. Point this project, it can't be tied to, it's such a complex project, I cannot be tied to any specific tech. And you gotta figure out what's gonna work, what's not gonna work early. on. You don't get invested. Me into writing my own engine from scratch, so it won't be the first time, but all that nice stuff, nice to haves, like VR and all the unique physics and all that shit. It's lovely. You lose it all. And just Unity's not like unique and it's rubbish for threads. There's an alternative approach I used once upon a time, and that is have a completely separate program running in the background, like your simulator basically. And it doesn't talk to Unity traditionally, it talks to Unity like through almost like a database. It says, hey, here are all the latest changes, represent them. Unity just becomes a representation of data, and the data is controlled by a completely different application. It doesn't give a shit about shaders and sounds and physics. It just cares about moving data around and making things happen. Logic. Totally isolate that from Unity and have Unity have a layer that can't fuck up. It's talking to, and that has benefits like you could have multiple Unity viewers looking at the same database. Multiple people could look at the exact same thing happen. It means you get networking for free. It means you get saving and loading for free. It gives you a lot of benefits. And I have done it before, so it's not totally alien. It's one of the ways I got around threading issues in the past. Don't fight Unity with threading. Don't even try. So I'll try for a bit longer, but then have to. Hey, I'm pulling in all the hard stuff for this project, so why stop now? So when I stopped that, it did totally fail. Well, I can't tell if the thread was running or not, or if it was dead. Tedious. Yeah. Well, it's like it's a certain kind of code. It's not long. The entirety of the code to do all of this, you could probably fit it on a single piece of paper. That single piece of paper of code, that's where you earn your salary. That one piece of paper of code is going to be absolute, like, top shelf shit. Has to be. But I had done all this before. I do have a code for this before. But I'm always hesitant to dig up old code and try to reuse it when I'm not going to understand it the same way I used to. It's been too long since I wrote it. I'm not going to understand it the same way I used to. And if I have to relearn it, I'll invariably improve on the original version. And technology's changed since now and then. A lot. So. The database middleman thing is tempting. And it also means like this simulation stuff, as I just saw, is running about 500 times faster than Unity's single update. Between a single update of Unity coming around, 500 of my threads managed to loop through. So that's how slow Unity's update is. The only reason Unity should care is like something visually changed. If I need to communicate, the user needs to communicate, they can just communicate through this middleline. It doesn't have to be a database, it could be just a simple connection of some kind. Some connection where data can go back and forth. It doesn't mean any whatever it is. It's just not code that's being executed. You create that middle layer out of whatever you want. I used MongoDB before because the document style database was perfect for that kind of thing. And then you just had one table in a database or collection in a database that you just kind of watched for changes, and that was the way I did communication. It would immediately inform anybody. But I could use a pub subsystem for that. I could use MFQQ for that. But some of the database stuff is pretty rad in that it's persistent. It does its own problems. But you get it working, and your resume looks boss. So that's always that. why you gotta keep these little projects on the go all the time. Keep showing feet. Alright, so I got my error I was looking for here, which was coming from this guy. Boom, thread test. That'll explode. So now if I can get around it, I'm saying, yo, make that an inner, and then just run it on the main thread. This is my super simple solution right now. And that should be all I need to change. I don't even need to restart or recompile Unity. I just go boom. That should just work. But the delay between me running that and it happening is big. No? Which one is this? Why Visual Studio? What's your fucking malfunction? Just piss off Visual Studio. You're not even invited in preferences. Nobody asked for you. Oh, how did you get changed to Visual Studio? That wasn't me. So, toString can only call from the main thread. I'm aware of that, but I did call it from the main thread by doing this. Save that. The thread test. Let me simplify this thing a lot. I can go. All this can go. Just thread test. What else could I be calling this toString? Is it toString on a specific thing? Say what toString? Is it? Oh. You're complaining about the toString in the actual exception? No, it's not. System error. It can't be. Entry. Dynamic stat frame. Can't be this, it's actually causing it. This is actually what it's spitting it out. So somewhere a toString has been called somewhere. Since that's okay. This is a toString that's going to be happening on the main thread. Well, simple enough as it is to call this a class. See if it goes away. Database is also rad because it gives you multiplayer for free. You have two people looking at the same database, modifying the same database. You got two people working on the same circuit at once. Database doesn't give a shit, really. So, free multiplayer. Wow. 1,307 times before it actually managed to set it. That's how long it takes. So the error is not coming from, doesn't seem to be coming from thread tests. There's nothing else going on in here, guys. That's it. It's just coming from my thread code. But it says it's a scripting exception. Which means it's my scripting code, but there's nothing in there that calls it toString. There's nothing, it's just two empty methods. I mean, this does, but this is run on the main thread. And it worked already. That's all I want. It's happened right here. So it's nothing to do with this code. This running fine. And I'm not running into stuff, so what the hell, guys? Is it somewhere in here? Could be anywhere in here. Any two strings. Probably in some logging. This component was set. Set scripts components. Right. Here it is. Got you. Finally managed to get around after 1,606 runs, and it finally got around to set the component, which is in the thread. Basically, it ran out of here, hit this, and then boom, this tries to do a toString on something that's in. That's a toString on a modern behavior. Can't do it. God, limited. So fucking limited. The thing too is you separate the Unity thing out. If you can't even touch Unity from your scripts, and you couldn't even attempt to, you have no possibility of running into these problems. Looking like databases. Or a combination of databases and a message queue. That might be smarter. Now what? Got an error in my methods. Yeah. Blank. Dude, it's commented out. Can you not see that? That's a grief. What's... Oh, huh. I need a pass in there. And I guess here too. But I probably want to do some stuff in here in a second. Like, I don't know, my thread test. Bring that puppy back. I'm waiting for this to be 1,237 loops. There you go. Alright, why am I not getting... My thread test should... Oh yeah, I put a pass in there. Whoops. I do like the fact that I restarted this thing when it's just Python and it's just starting and stopping. I think F5 does the same thing. I don't even need to do this. Keep forgetting about it, though. And there it is. So that works. I bypassed threading in F5. Does that work? Oh god. Oh no. Gross. See, there's another case. Restarting your script, reloading your scene through just this. Just indeterminate errors. System error. Great. It's scripted as fuck. For no good reason. Eesh. Alright. Yeah, really good think of what I want to do here. See how much trouble I get. At least getting the LED to light up. So, in here, we'll actually try to blink an LED. Output signal. So that means, well, we should just see if that works. There's plenty of login to look at. Five seconds pass. See, it seems instantaneous. Sure isn't compared to this cell's not. Well, saying that, what the hell here? Look at this. Queuing an action to wait on the main thread. The number has changed when I hovered over it. Oh, it's. Yeah. Set. It took about a second. Theoretically, about a second. That was enough to run 1250 of my threads. So now this theoretically should make a LED work, I guess. I'll throw an LED in here and see. It's going to be completely broken because of everything. I totally destroyed how the scripting works, so LEDs ain't gonna work. The scripted part, which needs to behave in the exact same way as before, means that LED script's gonna be totally wrong. Doesn't have a self or component, doesn't have an LED, doesn't exist, it's not anymore. This doesn't have component, it has a global component. In my setup, I want to say something like, hey, yo, it'd be kind of cool to do this. Kind of cool to say, I'm trying to stick to Arduino type code, so, but it could be considered an interrupting. If it's Arduino style code, then I should be saying, in my loop, I should be saying something like, check if in 0. Other than the it's a fucking LED. It's not just like code running like, so it's gonna be whatever. It doesn't matter. Has voltage on it. So, I guess signal equals get signal, get pin signal 0, and then something like if signal or is instance signals dot voltage on signal, then LED on. Else if let's just print in here. Print LED on. That's an off signal. A bit primitive, doesn't care what kind of voltage is coming through or anything. So it needs to be able to get a pin signal from this guy somewhere. So we'll have find get pin signal and we'll stick a pin. And that's gonna have to ask. Oh, now we run into another giant ass problem. Maybe not. Maybe not. I am being a bit too tentative about the raw data, non-mono behaviors I can deal with. I can touch those. So in the component, I could say check it out when I component. I guess return component dot get current signal on pin index pin. And then this, I'll have to code a whole bunch of shit to make this work. Will be my base part. Something like this. Public signal int index. Now pins are gonna have to hold on to. When I output on a pin, it goes to the connected pins and has an on signal. So when it's received on signal, instead of triggering this shit, which it currently is, let's just break everything like I've been doing the whole time and say, you know what, my current signal is the signal. It's like my current state, effectively. And then when I get the current one, I'm like, yo, pin index dot current signal. Just return that. And that would just spit out the current signal. So it doesn't deal with if it misses a signal, it misses a signal. Those are cookies. So this doesn't touch. This is just raw data. That's raw data. That's a bear. Oh, fuck off. It's a mono behavior. Okay, that should be fine still. As long as the thing I touch in here, anything signal, please tell me that's okay. Signals is just a raw class. It's fine. Current signal, as long as they don't touch anything, or don't like this, for instance, like fucking this, right there. That's probably going to be, yeah, that's not thread safe. That's not thread safe. So where's signal called from? It's called from on output, which is called on send signal. But this is already running. Send signal on pin index should be running from. Yeah, that's running thread safe. This isn't, and can't. This can't run thread safe because this has to return a value. And thread safe isn't. It has to wait till the next Unity update comes along. So we can never return stuff from it. But this doesn't care. This is like, yep, just give me whatever the current signal is. And that can be none. It could be totally be none. So back in blink. Sorry, LED. Doesn't have this anymore. doesn't have an on signal. I don't have a concept of that right now. Although I kind of like it, so I'm going to comment it out. It's saying it doesn't hit any needs, it's fine. So we should. Let's just throw the printing anyway. Print. Now watch this. This will blow up. It's printing a signal. Printing a signal, I believe, will go signal, get type name, name comes from, okay, actually, that's fine. No, that should be safe. That should be okay. Yeah, so that, I can print the signal on it. Now, there's this whole nonsense here. Again, don't care about it right now. I just want to see it say LED on or LED off. That's it. So, my blink thing on pin 0, so whatever the 0th pin is, which will be actually not what I want. 0th pin is VCC, so I actually want to be spinning on pin 1. I'll follow the Arduino's lead and make it GPIO 13, which is usually a built-in LED, so that's not going to work because it's an order of index, which means it has to be pin 1 actually. This is got actually from an index. It means the MCU needs to have 2 pins because this will be 0, and this will be, I guess, GPIO 1. Sure. And we add that to our pins. GPIO 1. Add to the MCU pins. So we go index 1. So LED pin 1, which should index that. So we're outputting a signal on pins 1, and one of them is going to be a voltage on signal, 5 volts, one's going to be voltage off signal, 5 volts. We'll wait a little bit less time between the two. And the LED should react. We're doing nothing in setup. You know, and in its loop, it checks on its pin 0, which will be its anode. Yeah, so the GPIO 1 needs to be connected to the anode, just like in real life. And then it'll print a signal and then it should display these if it's on or off. So back over in the scene, MCU, it's GPIO 1, it's connected to LED's anode. Here's my little GPI 1. I'm gonna put that somewhere, but let's put it here. There's a GPIO on the other side. Okay. And I figure out what the hell's wrong with my goddamn LED material. Now this is running the LED script still, which looks fine. So I'm gonna measure this thing. Material has no material. I had an LED material on here somewhere. Oh, that's a part. Materials. I guess RGB LED. Sure. Doesn't matter. I'm looking for the print statements. That's all I care about. So let's watch this beauty blow up. Motherfucker. Okay. It's working. Look how fast this fucking thread's spinning. Whew. Uh-oh. Motherfucker. Okay. It works. So fast. So this, I mean, like, does it wait? Should it wait? This is no downside. I'd be saying, hey, you know what? I'm on, so tell Unity to turn the material to on, or light to on, or whatever the fuck. And it would be doing that thousands of times a second. So even in an LED, it should be like, you know what? I probably should just wait 5 milliseconds. Let's just see what that looks like. Let's wait 50 milliseconds. each time. That should just work. If you see this number being 39,000, holy shit. My biggest concern is those numbers continue to climb when they've stopped the play. Stop play mode. Which means my threads are running wild. Yep, and that's locked up again. Which means the threads are running wild. So super. 1 step forward, 10 steps back. This means you're making progress, you realize it's not going to work. Don't stay in school, kids. Don't do hard things. It's give you a headache. This is more reasonable. There wasn't stops and starts. Oh, that makes sense. This is with having a 50 millisecond delay. Because artificial delay is fucking everywhere. I mean, I could. Nothing's stopping me. Well, alternatively, you know what? I'm thinking about this too hard. What about this loop, right? This is run. This is running the base. This is the scripted part. I'm running this in an infinite loop right here. Bosh. So clearly that's gonna spin its wheels pretty goddamn quickly right here. What if I just wait? What if I say, you know what? There's a frame passed in Unity. I just number the frames in Unity. And say, like, you know, when was the last time I ran this thing? And that'll bring it in line with Unity at least. No major benefit of the fact that it's not going to just totally destroy Unity by saying, yeah, change your material 1,000 times a second. But I can bring this in line pretty quick. I can say I should, as a frame passed in Unity land. That'll be, I guess, if I'm not gonna bother using an integer, I'll just use a flip-flop boolean. If I don't know if this is the official way you name these things, but I like it. If flip is not equal flop, nobody. While flip equals flop, just do nothing. So infinite loop right here, and then so while they're the same. No, that's not how you do it. It's not how you do it. I don't know. Equals, so you just keep toggling this back and forth once a frame in Unity somewhere. I should be able to access this. It's going to be just a simple static. It can't be static though. Can it? Can it be static? Yes, it can be static. And this thing will have an update. Does it already have an update? Probably has an update. Well, let's use scripting. It's a bit more widgets. Let's say, yeah, let's just say while sim controller dot while not next frame. No, that's gross. I can't do that either. Give me a cigarette. Right. The current frame is not equal this thing's current frame. Do nothing. As long as I'm looking hard enough, it should. And this would be an integer, we just keep increasing every update. It's not enough. So do nothing when that's finished. Current frame. We should tie it to ties it to the frame rate of Unity. So lock root to the current Unity frame rate. Hey, 3D print is done. A little bundle. 3.5 hours, not bad. That should lock it to the Unity frame rate. So then my LEDs don't do any stupid things anymore. Give that a shot. That scares me. Whatever's causing that is bad news. I suspect it's going to cause the same infinite loop. Or randomly does, even worse. Oh, not equal to, while it is equal to current frame, do nothing. Should do that. Concerned that this is going to be the infinite loop now. No, it's random. Brilliant. That ran a bunch of times, that's okay. Don't know where that two string is coming from. So it's not spinning anymore, but it should. It should spinning. Anyway, it's not that low. Right, well, let's make the thing light up now. So how the hell do I light this thing up? This is basically what I want to do. It's set color. It's going to hit up all kinds of gonna run into all kinds of problems. Let's make it go from red to black. That'll hit some kind of main thread issue. God, I hit some kind of main thread issue. Yeah, it's hitting the game object. Of course it is. But really, these are just the layers I want to build up on top, which is kind of ridiculous. I want to. Well, no. I could just be cheeky and say, you know what, set color. Just make set color. Just use my util.run while scripting sim controller dot run on main thread. Takes an action. And the action is just this guy. Should sort that out. I don't mind throwing that everywhere. It's in C#, so doesn't complicate. Doesn't complicate my Python. Come on, see some light. There we go. Okay. Threaded scripts. Ah, it is spinning. It's good. That's what I want. It's spinning way slower. So all I need to do is clean up some of the noise. Like that. That and that. This isn't hideous. Not super gross. And neither is it. This is actually really nice. I do need this. Does that cause a problem? Alright, that's some pretty great progress. Did that for 3 hours. Not bad. I'm really not that concerned about, after a cigarette and some thinking, I'm not that concerned about having to pull this into a database and external process for simulation, because I like just destroyed everything. Because as long as I decouple it in code, I can put that in later. Motherfucker. This is stuff I'm going to have to deal with for quite a while. Infinite loops. Or failed something. Code looks really tidy though. It looks basically like Arduino code. This can get simpler. Now it's like Arduino code. It's kind of the goal here. Now can decouple quite a lot. All I have to do is, whenever I come across something I want to do to my, like this, all I have to do is to make sure it's on the main thread. And that's only going to be things that are visual. Sounds, visual. It's doable. Now I've got problems with it bombing out every once in a while. It just works with GPR1 now set. If it still works with pin 1. Cool. Now, to get an error there, flexion is not. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Kinda need to cache that, so action Q will be the action Q2. No. Dot any. It's been modified here. How do I normally do this? I've done this a million times. DQ. So many times. Big of a code base on top of my head that I've done this in. But this can't change. I don't need that anymore, it's noisy. I don't. I mean, if there's two things in there. Let's see it. Count. Is that Venus? No errors. When you stop. This is going to be completely random. It terminates at certain points. It's going to be different every time. That's a big problem. Yeah, where you terminated it. Mid-line of code. Cause all kinds of problems. So really, I shouldn't terminate. Terminate like this. I should say stop thread. That's true. And do it in the thread itself. In the thread. Next time it gets through here, I'll stop it here. Okay. Wow. Not stop thread. What did I call it? Stop thread. That was just fucking static, isn't it? Shit. Should it be static? I keep thinking it should be static. Should it be static? while not stop thread, carry on, and then end. Pretty big change. Let's test that out. Oh, right. And the thread should just stop when it reaches an end. Which is safer to do from within the thread than it is outside the thread. I'm in control when it happens, so these guys. And I'm not double aborting too, just me. No errors outside doesn't mean shit. Don't need that anymore. It's noisy. I think that termination control is going to help a lot. No reference. How the hell that happened? Huh. Okay, well, somehow I brought a null in there, I think. Somehow I end up with a null? Weird. Every time I end up with an exception, that means I've not cleaned up my threads, so it's still fucking running in the editor. Probably by I have to keep restarting the editor. And unfortunately, with Unity, you can't do a giant try-catch above everything. That's a huge benefit of pulling this out into an external application and having it, the simulator, run totally separately to Unity. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. As long as they keep things decoupled now, it shouldn't be the biggest pain in the ass out of it. Yeah, I think the exception is meant. Unity's left with some loose threads, and this is what happens. That's a problem that will go away when Unity is just a viewer, because it's not handling the threads. Something entirely different handles the threads. I mean, I can do a high-level try catch until some bad shit happens. So figure it out. Can't do that in Unity. And threads don't give a shit if you hit stop. When you hit play, they just run forever until you restart it. Yeah, never-ending reload. I have a better idea of what you can do here, and I don't need to go take the plunge yet, do all this database and queuing system stuff, because if I just keep things decoupled enough in code that I can just more or less lift out that stuff, put it into its program, then it's still going to be a bunch of work, but not heinous. Got my blinking light though. Oh, I have my blinking light. So now it's on pin 1, sending a signal on pin 1. That's sending it on pin 1 where? Ah, well, that's no good because that's to assume I know it's coming from pin 1. Gotcha. So it's on my end in blink, it leaves on pin 1, which then says, yo, send it on pin 1. No, that should work. Because the pin 1 will have the connections. The send signal on pin index. Because yo, pin 1, in my case, on the MCU, is a legit pin. Output to any connected pins on that pin, and then send the signal to those pins, which sets the current signal, which is what it reads off. And this signal is all connected pins. So let me just check my seam's not fucked up again. So bring this in here. MCU's connected. MCU's GPIO 1 is connected to the anode, which is pin 0. This is pin 1. So what's happening in my LED? I'm saying get signal on pin 0. No, it just say pin anode received voltage off. So that's totally right. So why is it not changing color? Great. Great. How to slow down iterations 101. Use threads in Unity. Like restarting Unity, threads are for you. Threads, dirty word. They're amazing. You just don't Unity. Alright. Let's stop. No errors. So let's see if I can pin down exactly when this happens reliably. It's just not. Now I'm getting some fucking what? What? See, this is because this thread's left over and it's like, I don't fucking work. Unity has its own solution for threading, and it's called coroutines. And they do the trick, but not when you're dealing with methods that you have no control over, which is things like me running Python. You can't say, hey Python, do me a favor, will you? Yield. It's not gonna do it. Alright, let me just try something here now. So when this LED gets a signal on pin 0, I'm gonna go right ahead and say, hey, signal out on pin 1, the same signal. Which means, is it pin out or pin output? Output signal, like that. Which means I should be able to chain LEDs together now. I pop another LED in here, and I connect LED 1's cathode to the anode of pin. There we go. I should get them both blinking. Or Unity will just sit here. I'll have to restart it. Not quite. Something blew up here. Was it a signal? It's not a signal. Sending signal none. How did it turn to none? Ah, of course, there's no signal on current signal, so I need to do I'll do a check in here actually. Here I'll just say, if signal is none, then just don't worry about it, buddy. Return. Well, I can't do that because this thing will run anyway. Shit. It'll run that on the main thread. But that's alright, it'll still return. We'll just put a shit ton of stuff on the main thread that'll just end up failing. Oh no, I can, better yet, I can just, well, I can put a check there, I can also put a check. Oh, fuck it, I can put a check right here. Yeah. So don't send null signals. How it would reach that, I don't know. That's because the LED was constantly spitting out its signal, and because of these guys, it was preventing me getting some none signals, but this doesn't care. Now it does. But it doesn't fix the problem. It wasn't sending it along. Oh, joy. That's fun. It's still fun. Well, once I get that second LED blinking, I'm gonna call it for now. I got some more work to do later on the totally new project, and I need to turn my brain off and turn on again. Context shifting. Breathe. Yeah. And it's totally fucked now. It's totally not setting the component either. Look how fast that's running. God damn. Several thousand a second. Waiting for component to be set ain't working. Both running LED. What happened there? What happened? Set component. Failed miserably. This failed. Well, it didn't. It failed for one. What about the other one? Wonder if it's because it's the same code? No, it's still separate scope. This thing isn't static anymore. Is anything static in here? Current frame. That shouldn't be static. Well, I don't think I use anymore. Nope. Nothing in here should be static anymore. That being static, would I have done it? I don't think so. Because it didn't even get past this part. It's random as fuck. I don't like the fact it's random as fuck. LED sending signal, anode received signal off. Anode received signal 5 volts. So this should be lighting up. It is saying the right components. This component is this. So how the hell is it? The whole set color thing. God damn. Now I'm not getting any colors at all. And one component's failed to set. It's so goddamn random. Now this will probably crash. Yeah, my fucking thread is still running. Didn't terminate the thread. Just meant it was leftover crap. Let's watch this. I stop. Ain't nothing gonna stop this thing running. That thread's gonna go on forever. Which means that same thread is gonna keep potentially setting the color wrong. It's not even reaching the color. Now it's just a bit. Oh god. If only it was possible code chains No chance. I don't even think it'd be worth it, to be honest. You'd limit yourself too much. You're better off using a complicated approach of having a database messaging system. That would be cooler. And he's crashing. He's never even getting to this. Ow. I've done harder things before. I have no idea what's going on now. Something's still kicking around. Something's still holding on to this stupid. This. It's still holding on to this. What is holding on to this? Well, I restarted Unity. You know, stuff to do here. Restart. The background worker anyway. Hello, what are you doing? It's just background worker. Hmm. And you want a stopping point, but can't stop it. It's totally fuck. I want my lights back. It's failing to set the other component. Why? How is that possible? It'll be in my action queue. My action queue pumping in is fucked. What other project do I have that uses that? Come on, somebody. Unity. Main thread action pump. It's not a new concept. Oh yeah, should be locking that thread, that queue. Yeah, they're locking the action queue. Smart. Keep them that. That's over in Sim Controller. Definitely have collisions the speed of Unity's running compared to my thread. And then I'll do the same thing when pulling from it. Lock. Action queue. Really don't like the fact that I'm throwing away nulls. I should never be a null in that, ever. I should just be able to run it like that. I didn't even run it this time. Come on. I literally just started it up. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. Well, I don't even know how to go about fixing it. Reloading subassemblies. Right, it's freezing while trying to unload a native assembly. Probably fixing these still. Yeah, because it's not never letting go, which means it's still just a problem with the non-loading. Not stopping the threads. I don't really can. Oh, what did I change? I changed the action pump. Well, still managed to delay slightly, but it works. Every time I was gonna restart it, have it still work. I don't think it's gonna work more than once. Too much shit left over from the other threads. No, it's still good. So I have like 50% working threaded Python Blink program with LEDs. Well, it works until you breathe or recompile or do anything. I think it's a recompile, to be honest, which would make sense. But if it's more cleanly terminating the threads now from the change I just made. Because before, the threads were never making it because this was fucked up. I wasn't locking for first thing, and I think this was all messed up. I wasn't locking it, then bad things happen, and then eventually one of these things gets locked in this infinite loop, which means that thread will never reach the end and properly abort itself. So now it's properly aborting itself. I might have something a little bit more reliable. There's still a problem, there's still plenty of threading issues, but it does seem to be more reliably. Now the test would be changing some code and have it see if it can manage to reassemble those assemblies while they're potentially in memory still. So I think it getting stuck on this point suggests to me it can't, and now that was okay. Let's run it again. I may have solved one of the main issues. Means I got a stopping point. Hey, almost been 4 hours. Not bad, a lot of progress in 4 hours. Sometimes progress is discovering a ton of problems. Now this, yeah, there we go. See, this is more reliable now. I like it. Still getting some random shit flying around, but it seems to be terminating those, aborting those threads properly most of the time. Enough that I have something I can play with a bit better. Alright, let's commit this shit and take a break. What have I done today? Threaded Python scripts. Reverted, working on much more Arduino style of Python scripts, adding built-in Python stuff to adding stuff to the scope of every Python script. That's all I can think of. Blink example with 2 LEDs and voltage on and off signals. Ship it. Baby steps. Size 12 baby steps. Oh, thank you for watching. I'll be back at some point. And Andrew, if you're still there, I got show and tell on Friday about this project. Mostly not about the project itself, it's a bit intense, but mostly about how the hell do you start a big project and manage to start a big project and approach it knowing there's going to be a million challenges. So that's what I'm going to even talk about on Friday. Like motivation and choosing your battles and all that. For now, I'm taking a break.